my main goal and what I want to be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, that goes to show just everything we've been talking about. You don't know what's going to happen or, even what you're going to like from year to year, or want to pursue from year to year. So I like to kind of have most of the episode adhere to basically anybody's experience. But for people who have their own businesses, want to show up on social media, anything like that, what kind of tips do you have right now? Like I know Threads just popped up. TikTok is still popping off as usual, like reels, everything seems to be changing. So how do you keep up with all of these changes? And like, what do you recommend for people who want to sell themselves or a product online?
Yeah, my biggest tip for social media growth is literally just show up. Just keep showing up. Don't stop showing up. It's hard to show up, but you need to show up, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Is
It
it,
can be,
no, go
yeah, what?
ahead.
No, you ask.
Do you think it's quality over quantity or quantity over quality or a mix of both?
I think it's definitely a mix of both because I
Mm-hmm.
truly do believe that the more that you do it, the better you get at it. And so to me, if you're not feeling comfortable with it yet, you need to jump in full force and do it, do it, do it, do it,
Mm-hmm.
do it. That's what gets that comfort level up. However, I think if you're just putting out crappy content every day, that's also not going to be helpful.
Right. Yeah.
It's a nice mix of quality and quantity, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, my biggest tip is literally just to show up and just do it. I like to say, don't worry too much about the algorithm. Don't worry too much about what other people are going to think. Like, especially if you're just getting started and you're really struggling to get that confidence and you want to do it, but you don't really know how to do it. Like, you just need to create. You'll figure out in time what your specific audience wants to see, what your specific audience enjoys. But if you're struggling with that first step, you just got to do it, and you got to do it in a way that you like it, and you got to do it
Mm-hmm.
that makes you feel comfortable and won't burn you out, and just have fun with it. I think a lot of us forget to have fun because we focus so much on the numbers, and that is like the downfall of so many creators and why they don't continue doing it is just because they get so focused on the metrics that you forget why you started in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really hard, definitely hard to feel like you're going and going and not seeing any,
Yeah.
improvements. But like I said earlier, like there are little improvements. Like for myself, I just started doing this podcast. I had my first like interview for it June 5th, and I've already had 11 episodes streaming. I have 10 more to post, that
Yeah.
I've already recorded. So I'm like, you have to take in these like little wins. Like, and I've talked about this before, like you have to take those little wins just as much as you take those little losses or failures. Like we will let those tiny little things that we messed up take over our day, but then those tiny little things we do right, we don't
We forget.
recognize. Like, yeah, exactly. So it's just so important, especially with social media. Do you think a lot of people feel like they need to grow really quickly? And when you feel like that, like what would you tell somebody? Like for me, I feel like when should I expect to finally like hit that 1,000 followers? Or when
Yeah.
you talk to somebody and you're like, okay, I feel like I'm doing all the right things, like should it take this long? What do you think, and what have you seen?
Definitely social media is a long game. And
Mm-hmm.
in this world where things go viral like that, we often think like, when is that going to happen to me? But the reality is that it doesn't happen to most people like that.
Mm-hmm.
It most of the time for most people it is a long game. And I think that it's important to remember as a business owner specifically that you're not in it to go viral, you're in it to help the individual person. And I always say this to my clients who like, if one of their reels doesn't go viral, they want to delete it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, let's not delete it because let's put it this way. Like, if this video, let's say, got 1,000 views and all your other videos got, maybe 40,000 views, whatever it happens to be, even though it only got 1,000 views, what if one person in that 1,000 views is the person that wants to hire you, is the person that, relates
Exactly.
to you, is the person that really resonated with you in that piece of content? Like, you really never know. And so that's why I always say, like, don't focus on the numbers. Don't focus like, oh, when is this going to happen to me? I'm a big believer that your mindset plays a huge role in your success, in your social
Mm-hmm.
media growth, whatever it happens to be. And if you're constantly saying, like, oh, this isn't working out for me, oh, I'm having horrible numbers, my views are low, nobody's watching my stuff, nobody's commenting, whatever, like that mindset does make a difference. You are not going to show up in the right way. You're going to show up specifically just to get views. And all of that steers away from your original mission, which is literally just to help the individual person that you're specifically looking to help. So, my main tip there is like, don't focus so much on going viral. Don't focus so much on the numbers. You really, really have to bring it back to the person that you're looking to help and just enjoying it yourself, because that's how you make this sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. It all really does come down to the sustainability and still enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's so right too. Ugh, so many things just came up for me. But but for mindset, I'd love to just like kind of end on the topic of mindset because that is really what changed the game for me. Like before I got pregnant, I started to kind of get into this type of stuff, like reading the nonfiction books and really trying
Yeah.
to work on myself. And then when I was pregnant, I was working out more than ever because my
Yeah.
mindset was different. It wasn't like losing weight, it was enjoying it, getting the endorphins, like
Yeah.
feeling, the success. So I feel like, and this is something I've been posting about recently, is having a different why and a different way to kind of gauge your results. So instead of like, for instance, losing weight, or I mean, I know that's not a great topic for either of us, but for like any type of, that's the most attainable, or I'm sorry, the
Right.
most relatable one, I think. So
Right.
as far as like exercise and losing weight, like instead of having that your goal and that how you measure your progress, I like to say like, okay, your why should be doing something that you're proud of, doing something every other day that you're proud of, doing something that makes you feel good. And then your progress isn't how many pounds you've lost or how many inches you've lost. It's how you feel. It's how far
Right.
you can walk now, how long you can run, how like, I don't know, you know what I mean? So I think that helps
Right.
my mindset a lot, is having that different why and that different progress marker. So for mindset for you, like how do you like think every day? What is something you do for your mindset, or something that you feel is different than other people as far as mindset?
Yeah, I think it's a very similar thing, like you said, of not tracking your success based on numbers
Mhm.
particularly, but tracking it based on, you know, did somebody DM me because of this? And now, like, I
Yeah.
have a new connection. Did I get a comment on this that really means a lot to me? How many relationships can I build today? Like using that as your milestones is so much better because
Mhm.
it really does help your business to build those relationships and make those connections. But also, B, you don't get so trapped in that number mindset where you're just trying to,
Mhm.
you know, get the numbers up. I feel like that's really, really helpful. So, like, for me personally, I don't necessarily have like great advice on like, here's like the mantra that you should tell yourself in the
Mhm.
mirror every day. Like,
Mhm.
I wish I had something like that, but
Mhm.
I can't
Mhm.
lie and say that I do that every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like again, just showing up as yourself, um, making social media fun, making it, feel good to you. It's something that so many of us struggle with, but something that is attainable. And you just have to stay in that, positive mindset of like, this can be fun for me. I can make this enjoyable. I will have success, whether I have 100,000 views on this video or 10 views on this video. There will be 10 people that were impacted by this video. It's just that mindset that I feel so many of us struggle with, but it's so, so, so important, especially if
Mhm.
you find that you're getting stuck in, that trap of caring too much about the numbers.
Yeah. I feel like if you imagine it too, like, okay, you got 10 views, but imagine that you're doing this in person and 10 people are looking at
Oh,
you.
that's the other thing.
Like
I
10
say that
people,
all
yeah,
the time.
10 people walking into your store, 10 people like holding your product, like whatever it may be. So, I mean, really quantifying and like imagining, once you like think about it that way, I think it really changes the game too. Um, so do you think that a lot of people who have like a product or a store should be on social media then?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know what else adds to this mindset thing? As you were talking, I thought of this.
Hmm.
I once heard someone say, and it's so true. 15 years ago, we didn't have this. If you wanted to advertise to even 100 people, you had to get maybe a billboard or a commercial on TV. And you know how much money that would cost? So every single time that I hear someone say, like, oh, this only got, X amount of views or, whatever, I'm like, do you understand that we are in an age where you literally can post something for free and have the
Mhm.
potential to reach thousands and thousands and thousands of people for free? Like,
Yeah.
people years and years ago, like, would have died for an opportunity like that for their business. So you have to really reframe it in that way of like, oh my goodness, we live in the best time ever where we literally can post something for free and reach thousands and thousands of people. So yes, I very much think that everybody should be on social media. I very much think that it is an opportunity that so many people waste and really shouldn't be taken for granted, because oh my god, are we living in an amazing time where we can advertise our business completely for free.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's awesome. I love how passionate you are about that.
Oh yeah. That gets me going because it's so true. I mean, think about it, like,
Oh,
why
yeah.
complain about this? It's literally free,
Yeah, trust me.
you know?
I get it for sure. It's like the potential thing. I just want people to
Yeah,
understand, like, the world is literally yours. It sounds so corny, but it's true.
but it is.
Yeah, and this also, like, for listeners, goes to show, like, Sarah thought she was gonna be a ballet dancer her whole life. That's what she was, you know, planning to do, and now she is hardcore an entrepreneur doing this
Yeah.
social media thing. So, you can really do and be good at multiple things, and I think also, like, I keep referring back to these people that I've talked to because everybody has been so amazing, and I talked to a psychology student, yeah, and she's like about to be a PhD, so she's doing the research, and she says that you go through multiple identities, and it only makes sense to try new things and be a new person, and like these quarter life and half life crises are like real. So
Yeah.
I think that's just super cool to see that you went from something so specialized to another thing so specialized, and you feel just as passionate about those things. That's so cool. So where
Oh
can
yeah.
people find you? Do you have anything to plug, like going on, launching?
Yeah. So if you are interested in my social media life, you can find me on Instagram at Sarah with an H, GAV dot social. So sarahgav dot social. And then if you want to see my ballet life, which, you are free to do that as well, it's just my first and last name. So it's at Sarah Gavilla, which is Gavilla.
Love it. Perfect. And then you help businesses, professionals with their social media. And I mean, we kind of went through all of the things that you offer. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. This was such a cool conversation. I love talking about your history and getting into all these different things. I really appreciate you coming on. And I know that you'll be inspiring and teaching a lot of people with all the stuff we talked about. So I hope you enjoyed.
No, seriously, I did. And thank you for having me. It's awesome that you open up these conversations and that you have this, podcast that you're talking about things that a lot of people don't talk about. So
Thank you. Yeah, I
kudos to you for
appreciate
doing
it.
that.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you everybody for listening. Again, like check out Sarah's Instagrams and I'll put all of that information in the notes and on social media as well. So thank you so much to Sarah and thank you all for listening. I will catch you in the next one.